Hi guys, welcome back. So today I have a video for you on how to contour your nose. I was never very good at contouring my nose. I always just kind of put some bronzer on the side of my nose and called it a day. Just a couple months ago I started really getting into contouring my nose because I liked how it looked contoured. So these are the steps that I use for a very easy, simple, beginner nose contour. So if you would like to see how to have an easy nose contour, then just keep watching. Alright, so to start off, I do have makeup on. I have concealer, foundation, powder over my under eye area, but I have no contour or anything on my nose, so we're just going to get right into it. So to start off, if I know I'm going to be out for a long time, I like to use some type of cream contour underneath my powder contour just to make sure it has a long staying power. So two of the things that I love using for contouring my nose are the Anastasia contour sticks. I like these because they are very cool toned and more on the gray side, so it doesn't look like you just have like two lines of like orange going down the sides of your nose. So the two that I have are Shadow and Fawn. So you can see here they are pretty similar. This one down here, what is this? Fawn is a little bit darker. So we're going to start off with this Shadow one first, and then if I want it to be a little bit darker, then I will, but I do use both of them. And the brush that I am going to be using is the Cut Crease brush by Sigma. This is the E62. I like using this because it has a nice like thin line and it's angled, so it's really easy to draw your line. So I'm just going to take some of this on my brush like this. You don't want to have too much, and then I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand to make sure I don't have too much. And I'm going to start off where I want my nose. So if you look down, you can kind of see where your line is. So everyone's nose is different, so everyone's contour is going to look different. Like I feel like I have like a wide nose. Do I have a wide nose? I don't know. But I feel like I can't make it too skinny because then it looks like I've contoured it. So I can't go too thin. I think I'm gonna go like about here-ish. Then I also have like an indent here and it kind of goes a little wide there. So I guess I have a lot of problems in my nose, which I've never really realized until I started contouring my nose. But I'm just gonna start off with a very little bit of product. You don't wanna like overload your brush so that when you start doing it, you're like, oh crap, I just put way too much in that one spot. So you just wanna start off with a very little bit, and you're gonna start by drawing down the side of your nose, obviously. And also, you can always make it thinner. So don't start off too thin because it's really hard to take away. Like with cooking, you can always add more salt, but you can't take any salt out. So always start out wider than you want it to be, and then you can always go in and make it slimmer. Alright, so I'm going to stop right before the part of my nose, and you always do want to make sure you're bringing up into that brow area too, and obviously we're going to blend this all, we're not going to like leave it as a harsh line. So I have my first line done here, and I'm going to go in, and you want to make sure you are bringing it in the same amount that you did on this side, because if you bring this side in more than this side, it's going to look totally uneven. So you want to make sure you do it like at the same spot that you did on the other side, or it's going to look really awkward. And one thing that I noticed with contouring my nose, you need to be really careful not to make it too small, because if you make it too small but yet you have a wide set nose, it's just going to show the normal nose, except you're going to have like a really bright part in the center of your nose. So you always want to make sure you are going wider than you usually want to, because you can always go in and make it smaller. So as you can see here, it is fairly small, and I think I'm going to keep it at that length. At that width. So, and then after you do that, you're going to want to blend just a little bit going down the side of your nose, because you need this part to be shaded to actually make it look like it's thinner. Because if you just have that line, then it's all bright underneath that line. You're gonna tell that it's not really shaded. So you need to shade just a little bit going down the sides where you had the line. So we're just gonna do just a little bit, and this is also gonna help with the blending process also. And I'm also going to make kind of like a triangle on the tip of my nose to kind of make it look a little more like, I don't know what that means, but you know what I mean. God, I love this brush for this. This is like one of the best brushes for it because it's so thin and it's angled, so it's so easy to draw your line going down like that. You can already see that my nose is looking so much slimmer, and I haven't even really done anything. I've only put this on. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe off this brush so there's no more really product on it. As you can see, it's actually pretty clean now. And I'm gonna start blending this down because you don't want it to look like you have two lines going down the sides of your nose, obviously. So I started contouring my nose actually not too long ago. I always put a little bronzer on the sides of my nose, but I didn't really start contouring it until maybe a couple of months ago, and I saw pictures of it on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, like the difference between my noses here and here within like a day of each other was absolutely crazy. I think I put it as like a picture too with like both of my noses there, and I was like, oh my god, it's like crazy. Like nose contouring is such a thing. Like it truly does help how your nose looks. Alright, so once I have this line basically done, I'm going to set it with powder just because I don't want anything else to like super stick to the contoured area. And I'm going to use my Makeup Forever HD powder. I love this stuff. It's very matte and I just love it. And I'm using this with my tapered highlighter F35 brush from Sigma. And I'm just going to set this on my nose. And you want to make sure it's like a translucent powder, nothing that's going to be like adding anything to your nose because we're going to be adding a bunch of other stuff to our nose. So a translucent powder is the best, and I like this one because I feel like it really covers up my pores. I don't know if any of you else have tried this, but I feel like it really covers my pores and I love it. So up next, you're going to want to use a bronzer, a powder bronzer, and you want to use one that is not warm and not shimmery. You once again want to stick to the cool bronzers. So I'm going to be using my Hoola bronzer by Benefit. You can also use like the Makeup Geek contour pans. Those are really good too. Or even the Anastasia contour kit. The shade Fawn is really nice. But I'm going to use my Anastasia Hoola bronzer. So it just looks like this. I love this shade. And I'm going to be using it with my Sigma E45 small tapered blending brush. And I love this because it is tapered, so it gets to a nice point that really gets you a precise line. So I'm just going to dip it in here, put some on the back of my hand to make sure it's not too much, and then start doing exactly what we did with that other contour, with the cream contour, except we're going to be using bronzer. So make sure you're not adding too much or it's really going to show that you are having lines down your nose. So you just want to make sure you are adding it to the very tip of your brush. And remember, it can always be blended, so make sure your lines are nice and straight. Alright, so after I have that laid down, I like to go in with my Sigma F77 brush and blend this out. Usually on camera, all you do is you see me using this. When I'm lazy, I'll just dip this in the bronzer and go like this on the side of my nose. But when I really want a nice contoured nose, I do all of these steps. So I'm going to take my clean F77 brush and I'm just going to work on blending this down. I like to use this for my blending process because it all blends very evenly because it's touching all parts at the same time. And I'm like pushing down and the other way. I'm like pushing in and then like kind of swiping it down the sides of my nose. And sometimes I do it like this to really stretch it out. And we're just blending it. And you don't want to blend it too far down because you want to be able to see that concealer there. So you want to make it a nice gradient. Alright, so after that is done, I like to take a highlighter. This is like my all-time favorite part. I know if you watch me, you know that I love highlighting the tip of my nose. Oh, I just absolutely love it. So here is the highlighter that I'm using today. This is the Lorac Daylight Highlighter. I love this highlighter. And I'm going to be using my Sigma E55 brush to apply it. So I'm just going to dunk it in here. And I'm going to start off with the tip of my nose. Because the tip of the nose, oh, I just think it does so much, don't you think? And then I'm going to put it on the bridge of my nose where we would have had like concealer going down, but I didn't put the concealer going down because I already had it on from like the rest of my makeup. So I'm just going to go in, and you don't want to put too much on the bridge of your nose or else it looks like super fake. So you just want to put a very little bit, probably less than I put because I like to really go ham on it. Alright guys, so that is it. After you have done these steps, you are basically done with contouring your nose. You can always go back in and add more product if like bronzer or highlight or something if you would like. I love how my nose looks contoured and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So let me know if you have tried these tips and you are rocking a nice nose contour. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love all of you so much and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!